Hi everybody, 11 Institute welcomes all the students of Standard 10 once again to a new chapter of science, chapter number 11. And let us see what the chapter is about. The human eye and the colorful world, chapter number 11. The human eye and the colorful world. So basically this chapter number 11 belongs to second term, right? But we are discussing this in the first term itself. See, frankly speaking, I always give more importance to understanding rather than maths, right? Concept should be quite clear to you, and human eye works on the phenomenon of lenses and refraction, right? And we have discussed this in chapter 10, 10th chapter. So these chapters are having some common link between them. And now suppose if we study chapter number 10 now and we study chapter number 11 after 2 or 3 months, that would be a small injustice, right? So not considering about the terms, we will just look after this chapter just after chapter number 10 so that we can have a better understanding in the chapter, right? So once again I welcome you all to this new chapter, chapter number 11, the human eye and colorful world. This is our human eye, a zoomed in image, right? So before moving into the chapter, I would like to tell you that today we are going to discuss about the human eye, different parts of the human eye and their specific functions, right? So this is a very good image, and I may tell you that this portion at the center which you are seeing is the pupil. It is the pupil. Then this radial muscles, you can see these muscles that we are seeing over here, that is iris, right? That is iris. Then there is a transparent covering over here besides or ahead of this surface, which is cornea. There are ciliary muscles behind this, there is eye lens. We will discuss such parts in detail, but this is the iris, and the center structure is known as pupil, right? Now let us move ahead. Sorry. Right. And secondly, apart from human eye, the chapter also reads about the colorful world around us. Colorful world. Sky is blue. Sometimes the sky appears red at the time of sunset. There is twinkling of stars. We can see different types of colors and shades over here. We can see the reflection over here. Why this happens, why such phenomena happen in the colorful world, each and everything we will discuss in this chapter, right? Moving ahead, let us first of all see the paper pattern. So as per the blueprint, the chapter is of 5 marks, and what is more important is a question of 4 marks will be asked from this chapter. One question of 4 marks, a large question will be asked from this chapter. So this chapter is specifically more important for those students who feel that science as a subject theoretically they feel difficult to score marks or to pass this out. For them this chapter is important because a clear cut 4 mark question will be asked from here, right? And one question of 1 mark which will be very logical in nature, which will be a understanding based question, total 5 marks. And in board exam 2020 also the paper pattern was exactly followed. One question of 1 mark, right? And one question of 4 mark, total into 5 marks. Fine. So the chapter is of 5 marks. Please note this down for your own personal information or for preparation point of view. And now we will discuss about the human eye. Very sorry for the disturbance in between. Right, there were also a few small blank portion. The mic was not working properly. I hope now this is working fine. Let us move ahead and see the structure of human eye. Yes, so this is a well labeled diagram of the human eye, right? There is a small comparison. This is from the front and this is the lateral side of our human eye, right? This white portion that we see is actually the this one, which is known as sclera. This colorful portion of the eye, which is generally black and brown in India, right? This colorful portion that we see over here is iris. You can see that over here. This colorful portion, you can resemble it over here. This small opening inside it. Sir, આવું તો દેખાતું નથી small opening. એવું એટલું થાય છે ભાઈ. Because for us, this is also black, this is also black. So we are not able to easily point out the difference. But look into the mirror right in front of you and try to obtain a magnified image. Just be very close to mirror and see. You can see a small opening like this in between, which is known as pupil, right, which is over here. Behind the pupil there is lens, right? There is lens, and then this is the aqueous and vitreous humor over here, right? This is aqueous humor, there is vitreous humor over here, some substances are filled over here, and there is a screen like structure over here which is known as retina. This structure is retina, that is a type of light sensitive screen, right? Rays will fall on the screen, an image will be formed, and that image will be carried by the optical nerve to the brain, right? We will discuss the features in detail, no need to worry. But in front of this, right, this iris, this sclera, iris, in front of this there is a transparent covering. You can see there is a transparent covering ahead of the structure. In front of this eyeball, this pupil, this iris, right, there is a transparent covering which is known as cornea, which is filled with fluid. That transparent covering at the front part of the eye, right, is known as cornea. Now, when you look into the mirror and you observe your eye, you can feel that there is some transparent plastic or glass like covering which is protecting our eye, and that protective covering is known as cornea. So, this diagram is very much important. You have to draw this in your CW, but don't draw this diagram. You have to draw the diagram that is given in our textbook, right? That is given in our textbook. This is just for understanding purpose, that you understand that this is the front side and this is the lateral side. Fine, let us move ahead. Right, this again you can see pupil, then this radial diaphragm is iris, and you can see some shining material, this front shining material transparent, that is cornea. Now you can see here there is a small pupil, here there is a large pupil, so it will definitely control the amount of light that goes into the eyes. Right, we will discuss that feature in detail, but primarily this is the diagram of human eye, and you have to think about a few things only which are important for you at the standard 10 level. You do not have to think about sclera, choroid, foiva, etc. We just have to learn some basic parts of human eye. Rest you will learn in your further classes of 11-12 science. Right, let us move ahead and discuss one by one the important parts of human eye given in our textbook. Right, let us move ahead. So before starting, let me show you what actually happens. See, this is the eye lens. This portion is the eye lens. Now, we very well know that lens is able to do refraction. Suppose, just imagine that there is a principal axis over here. This is the optical center. And suppose we place an object over here. I will not go into detail about focal point or so, but suppose there is an object over here. So parallel rays will come, right? And they will get refracted like this. And one more ray will come from over here and it will get refracted over here. So the image of this point is formed at this point on retina. Now retina is nothing but a screen. Retina is nothing but a screen. So what happens is these rays move through the lens, they get refracted, and an image, real and inverted image, is formed over here, which is then processed and sent to the brain. Right, and brain performs the processing and it shows you that image. Right. So this is the common idea. Only thing is, the lens of human eye is flexible. The eye lens is flexible in the sense it can increase and decrease its focal length. The artificial lenses that are available in the market cannot increase or decrease their focal length. Their focal length is fixed, but the focal length of eye lens is not fixed. It can be increased and it can be decreased. Suppose I want to see an object which is placed very much far, and if I want to see an object which is placed very much near, the eye lens will make the adjustment. It will increase and decrease the focal length to focus such objects. Just try an experiment. I will show you. Just try it now itself during this video lecture. Just hold a pen in your hand. Take a pen in your hand and keep it very much near to your eye. Right, suppose there is a pen or pencil with you. Just hold it and observe it very much near to your eye. Now you can clearly see this pen, but your background will be blurred. The portion behind your pen will be blurred when you just see this pen. Right, this pen will be very clear to you. Now suppose there is a wall over here, or there is a TV behind you, there is someone standing over here. Try to look from here to here. Don't look at this pencil even if it is in front of you. You can see now this is clear and this will be blurred. In movies, in songs, you have seen such. Right, if anybody is using a professional camera, you can see when you focus on this object, everything else in the background will be blurred. Now in order to do this, the lens has to make some adjustments. No, if you take a professional camera of Canon, Nikon, etc., there is a rounded structure like this which you rotate like this and like this. What you are doing is, what the cameraman is doing is, cameraman is having a camera like this, right, and it is having a long structure like this, and then cameraman rotates it like this and like this. He will move it. What he does is he is increasing and decreasing the focal length to get a proper image. So cameraman is having an artificial lens whose focal length he has to adjust with his hands. But for human eye, this lens is so powerful and it is so automated that you don't have to tell it. If you want to see a nearby object, it will automatically adjust its focal length. If you want to see a far away object, it will obviously adjust its focal length. That is the role performed by the lens of human eye, which is the main part of the human eye, the eye lens over here. This eye lens, the only speciality about this eye lens is its flexibility to increase and decrease the focal length. Right, to increase and decrease the focal length. We will see that in quite detail. Right, let us now see each and every part of the human eye given in our textbook individually in detail. Okay, so the first part that we are going to see is introduction. Right, human eye is like a camera. See, I have told you this before. Human eye is like a camera. Fine, it will capture the images. Its lens system forms an image on a light sensitive screen called retina. This also I have told you that this behaves as a camera, and this lens forms an image behind it on a screen known as retina, and this retina is light sensitive. Right, an image will be formed over here which will be captured by the nerves and processed by the brain. This specific portion, this transparent layer over here, observe it very closely. We are talking about this. This transparent layer on the front part of the eye is known as cornea. Right, this part is known as cornea, right? This is known as cornea, transparent region. Fine. Now let us discuss about the cornea. Light enters the eye through a thin membrane called cornea. What is cornea? A thin membrane. Light enters the eye through a thin membrane called cornea. Now, this cornea is also transparent in nature and that will also perform some amount of refraction. The main function of refraction is given to lens, but some refraction will be also performed by this cornea. In fact, majority of the refraction will be performed by the cornea. This will only do the fine tuning. It will just give a sharp image. Majority of the refraction will be done by cornea itself. It forms the transparent bulge on the front surface of eyeball. Yes, I have mentioned this. This entire structure is known as eyeball, and ahead the eyeball there is a transparent bulge on the front surface, and that transparent bulge is nothing but the cornea. Talking about eyeball, eyeball is spherical in shape and is having a diameter of approximately 2.3 centimeter. This is the information given in textbook, and this is very much important for 1 mark objective type question. That what is the approximate diameter of eyeball? It is 2.3 centimeter, and eyeball is spherical in nature. Moving ahead, most of the refraction for the light rays enter in the eye occurs at the outer surface of cornea. Again, I will highlight this. Most of the refraction. Right, just a minute. Let me select the highlighter. Right, you can see that most of the refraction, right? Most of the refraction of the light rays enter in the eye occurs at the surface of cornea. Right. So when we talk about the refraction, let me show you an example. Suppose there is an object over here and light is incident over here, then some refraction will be performed by this, and then the refraction will be performed by the eye lens. So now if you can see, majority of the refraction is performed by the cornea and eye lens will just guide it further, nothing else. So majority of the refraction is done by cornea and fine tuning will be done by lens. This is like you can compare this with a radio. જૂનવાણી ટાઈમમાં રેડિયો આવતા હતા. Ask your mother and father. There was a radio like this. No, there is antenna like this. There is a meter like this, and there were two knobs over here like this. Right, one was coarse and another one was fine. Suppose if you want to join the radio channel 98.3, just an example to correlate, don't be confused. 98.3. So now on the coarse knob there would be numbers like 91, then 92, then 93, then 94. So 98 will be selected by this knob. You can rotate this knob like this and like this, and you can select 98. Now 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, these numbers were over here in the fine tuning. So now 98 on this and 0.3 on this. So together I will get 98.3. So majority of the adjustment is done by this one, and the small fine tuning is done by this one. Same happens in eye also. Right. Ultimately what we want is refraction. So majority of the refraction is done by this cornea, and the fine tuning, the last small amount of refraction, is done by the lens. I hope this is quite clear to you. This is the role of cornea. You don't have to write this now. I have given the answer separately, but definitely write this point. This is a 1 mark answer. Please write this in your CW. Right? Let us now discuss the next part of human eye. This one. This blue colored portion that we can see over here, which is generally black or brown in our eyes, which is known as iris. Iris is nothing but a muscular diaphragm. Just consider this. This is the pupil, right? The open space, and here there are small thread-like structures like this. and this is our eyeball. Now this is larger this time. Now when the iris muscles contract and relax, it can become small also like this. I hope you can understand. The size of the eyeball remains as it is, but size of the pupil is here decreased and here it is more. Now this size of the pupil is controlled by iris. Right, pupil means this open space. You can see this is a small opening. This can be large also. That depends upon this iris, whether the iris is contracted or whether the iris is relaxed. Based upon that, the size of pupil will increase or decrease. So the main function of iris is to control size of pupil. To control the size of pupil. Now let us see what is given in the textbook. It is found behind the cornea. It is a dark muscular diaphragm. Dark, right? It is responsible for the color. Dark muscular diaphragm that controls the size of pupil. How it controls the size of pupil, I have explained. It will control the size of pupil by contraction and relaxation. Why due to contraction and relaxation? Because it is muscular and you know that muscles can contract and relax. So when it contracts and relaxes, the size of the pupil will increase or decrease. Right? I hope this is clear to you. So what is the main role of iris? It will control the size of pupil. Now as iris controls the size of pupil, if the size of pupil is more amount of light can enter. If the size of pupil is less amount of light can enter. So how much amount of light enters the body is controlled by pupil. Yes, you can see here is the pupil. Right, pupil. And what is the function of pupil? It controls the amount of light that is entering into the eyes. Amount of light that is entering into the eyes. If size of the pupil is more amount of light can enter. If size of the pupil is less amount of light can enter. Right. And who controls the size of pupil? The size of pupil is controlled by a muscular diaphragm, that is iris. Muscular diaphragm, that is iris. It controls the size of the pupil and pupil controls the amount of light entering into the eyes. હવે સર amount of light થી શું ફેર પડે? Just imagine, ઉત્તરાયણ છે, મકર સંક્રાંતિ છે, and you are in your terrace continuously under more amount of light, and suddenly you go inside a room. So for a fraction of second, what happens is you feel that you cannot see anything. At that time, what is your eye doing? Your eye is making some adjustments. In better terms, I can say that your iris is getting contracted or relaxed just to control the amount of light that is going inside your eye. And you feel that. Right, so that is the role of pupil. It will control how much light will go inside. Right, more light or less light. Depending upon where you are standing. You are standing in a region of more light or less light. That will be decided, the size of this pupil will be decided by the iris, and pupil will control the amount of light entering into the eyes. I hope this is quite clear to you. This is quite logical. Fine. So once this pupil carries the light rays inside, that light rays will now be in contact with this eye lens. Right. Fine. I hope this is clear to you. There is an object over here. This is cornea, the outermost covering, the bulge. It will refract the light rays in the majority amount. Then the light rays will fall on the pupil. But the size of the pupil is governed by the iris. The iris will contract and relax, and based upon it, the size of this pupil will increase or decrease. Right, the size of this pupil will increase or decrease, and finally the light will reach the eye lens. Right, now let us see what is the eye lens made up of. Eye lens is composed of a fibrous jelly like material. It is composed of fibrous jelly like material. The crystalline lens provides finer adjustment of focal length required to focus objects at different distances on the retina and forms a real and inverted image on retina. Which type of image is formed by this eye lens? Real and inverted. Now question arises, sir અહીંયા જો ઓબ્જેક્ટ આવી રીતના ઊભો હોય તો એની રિયલ એન્ડ ઇન્વર્ટેડ તો ઇમેજ તો અહીંયા ઊંધી બનશે. તો આપણે બધું જોઈએ છે એ બધું આપણને ઊંધું તો નથી દેખાતું, સીધું જ દેખાય છે. સી ઇમેજ રેટિના ઉપર ફોર્મ થઈ છે. ધેટ ઇમેજ ઇઝ ધેન પ્રોસેસ્ડ બાય ધ બ્રેન. અને જ્યારે બ્રેન એને પ્રોસેસ કરે છે ત્યારે આપણને ઓબ્જેક્ટ સીધો જ દેખાશે પાછો. રાઈટ. સો ડોન્ટ બી ઇન ધેટ કન્ફ્યુઝન કે ભાઈ અહીંયા મને બધું ઊંધું ઊંધું કેમ નથી દેખાતું. ઇમેજ અહીંયા રિયલ એન્ડ ઇન્વર્ટેડ છે, બટ એનું પ્રોસેસિંગ થાય છે તો આપણને સીધી જ દેખાશે. રાઈટ. મોર ઇમ્પોર્ટન્ટ ટુ લર્ન ઇઝ એડજસ્ટમેન્ટ ઓફ ધી ફોકલ લેન્થ. આ લેન્સ અત્યારે આવી છે, આવી બી હોઈ શકે લાંબી. ફોકલ લેન્થ અહીંયા ઓછી છે, અહીંયા વધારે છે. રાઈટ. ફોકલ લેન્થ કેન બી લેસ ઓર મોર. સો વોટ ઇટ ડઝ ઇઝ, આ ભાઈ કોર્નિયાએ ઇમેજ બનાવી, એ સપોઝ અહીંયા જ આવતી હતી ઇમેજ, અને આને તો મારે હજી અહીંયા પાછળ લઈ જવી છે. તો એને પાછળ લઈ જવા માટે ઓર ઇમેજ સપોઝ અહીંયા બનતી અને આગળ લઈ આવવા માટે એડજસ્ટમેન્ટ કોણ કરશે? આ લેન્સ. રાઈટ. આપણે 98.3 ચેનલ લગાવી છે, તો 98 ઉપર તો આપણે પહોંચી ગયા આનાથી. હવે પછી મારે 0.3 બીજા વધારાના જોઈએ છે, તો એ કોણ લઈ આવશે? આ ભાઈ લઈ આવશે. સમજાય છે? That finer adjustment of focal length will be done by eye lens, which is the most important part of human eye, in order to form sharp images on retina. Right, in order to form sharp images on retina. Sure. Refraction is performed by two parts. One, it is performed by cornea. Two, it is performed by eye lens. Majority of the refraction will be performed by cornea, and the small adjustments in order to get a perfect, suppose મારી ઇમેજ અહીંયા બની, બરાબર ને, બટ મારે જોઈએ છે અહીંયા, તો એ આટલો જે ધક્કો મારવાની વાત છે, જે એડજસ્ટમેન્ટની વાત છે, that will be done by this eye lens. It will either increase its focal length, decrease its focal length to get the object over here, sorry, the image over here. Right. So that is the main role of eye lens. Let us move ahead. Ciliary muscles. Now, in the previous slide, we have seen that the eye lens, right, can increase its focal length and also decrease its focal length in order to get a perfect image over here. But who increases or decreases the focal length? No, you can compare that here. The size of the pupil can be more, the size of the pupil can be less, but the size is controlled by iris. In the same way, the focal length of eye lens can be more or less, but that is controlled by ciliary muscles. That is controlled by ciliary muscles. Right, see, these are the ciliary muscles. This red portion that you see over here, right, this entire portion, they are actually lengthy like this, they are connected over here. They are lengthy. Now suppose if they contract, right, if the ciliary muscles contract, the focal length of the eye lens decreases. And if the ciliary muscles relax, the focal length of the eye lens increases. So focal length of eye lenses can be increased or decreased. Right, it can be increased or decreased, but that is controlled by whom? Ciliary muscles. If these muscles over here contract, right, the focal length will decrease. If muscles relax, the focal length will increase. And simply understand that, for now the focal length is like this, or the focal length can be like this also. So here focal length is less, so ciliary muscles will have contracted. Here the focal length is more, so ciliary muscles might have relaxed. Fine. So contraction and relaxation of ciliary muscles is responsible for increase and decrease in the focal length of eye lens. Next part is the retina. Retina is nothing but a screen for us. A screen for us. Right? Retina is a camera hoy. તો એની અંદર પાછળ રીલ હોય or રોલ હોય or ફોટોગ્રાફિક પ્લેટ હોય, એની ઉપર બધી ઇમેજીસ સ્ટોર થાય or ડિટેક્ટ થાય. In the same way, the detection of the images is performed by retina in case of human eye. It detects, right, the image formation over here. So according to the textbook, the retina is a delicate membrane, delicate, right? It is not hard. It is delicate membrane having enormous number of light sensitive cells. Number of light sensitive cells. What do you mean by light sensitive cells? Whenever light falls on the retina, the cells will sense that light. બરાબર ને, અહીંયા સેલ છે એની ઉપર લાઇટ પડે તો એ સેલ ની અંદર કોઈ ઇફેક્ટ આવશે કારણ કે એ લાઇટ થી સેન્સિટિવ છે. બરાબર ને. If you want to know the names of these light sensitive cells, they are of two types: rods and cones. Right, the cones are responsible for the colorful image formation. The rods detect the black and white light, so they are responsible for the black and white image formation. And cones are responsible for the detection of colorful light and colorful image formation. These are the names of light sensitive cells. But this is the extra information. You do not have to write this in examination. Fine. Let us move ahead and read. The light sensitive cells get activated upon illumination. Get activated upon illumination and generate electric signals. Generate electric signals. Just consider that here there is a cell, light sensitive cell over here, right? And light after refraction will reach over here. So what this cell will do? This cell will sense this light, and as it will sense this light, it will generate some responses, and those responses are nothing but the electric signals. This will generate some electric signals, and those electric signals will be carried by this this nerves, right? Optical nerves. And this optical nerves will carry these signals to the brain. In brain there are separate centers which receive the signals from different parts of body. There our image will be processed, right? So the next part that we have is nothing but the optical nerves. And what these optical nerves do, they just collect the electric signals from retina and they send it to the brain. The optic nerve collects the information, the electric signals from the retina, and it will carry it to the brain. Now what brain will do? Brain will interpret these signals, it will process the information, and it will perceive the objects. It will perceive the objects. Suppose I keep an orange over here and I keep a banana in front of you. You can clearly tell me the difference that yes, this is orange and this is banana. You can demark these things. You can point out the difference that orange is of orange color, banana is not of orange color, it is yellowish color, right? Fine, you can point out that difference. So your brain is able to think, your brain is able to process the information that it has received from your eyes, right? So overall process is like this. There is an object over here. From that object we are having light, or we can call it as light signals. That light that's refracted by the cornea enters the pupil, refracted by the lens, and its image will be formed over here on the retina. Retina will do what? It will just convert the light signals into electric signals. Light signals into electric signals, and these electric signals will be collected by these nerves, and these nerves, optical nerves, will send it to the brain, and brain will process the image, right? Brain will process the image, and brain will tell us that yes, this is a cat, this is a pen, this is a book, right? This is a man, this is a fruit, this is a flower. We can differentiate between the different objects due to our brain. No, brain is having a special center for thinking. No, these optical nerves carry the information and send it to the optical receptors in the brain. In the same way, when we smell something, there are olfactory receptors in the brain. When we hear something, we hear the sound of a train, we hear the sound of a bus, we hear the sound of a girl, we hear a sound of the boy, right? We can differentiate between them, and that information is carried by the auditory nerve, and it will be then processed by the auditory center in the brain. So brain is having different centers for different processing, right? It will process the information sent by the eye, sent by the ear, sent by the nose, and it will perform the interpretations, right? So I hope this much information is quite clear to you. and we will have a small quick revision before ending today's video lecture. So this is again the human eye, my dear friends, right? And what human eye is, it is just a camera which is having a lens, but this lens is automatic. It can control, it can increase or decrease its focal length. There is an object over here, light rays will fall on the cornea will perform majority of the refraction, then the light will go into the pupil. What is pupil? It controls the amount of light that enters into the eyes. The size of the pupil is controlled by this iris. The iris is a muscular diaphragm which will contract and relax, and based upon its contraction and relaxation the size of pupil will increase or decrease. These light rays will now enter into the eye lens, and what eye lens will do, they will also perform the refraction, but they will perform the fine adjustment. Suppose an image is formed over here or an image is formed over here, it will bring this image near to the retina such that a sharp image falls on the retina and we are exactly able to see the object over here. That function is performed by the eye lens. So the focal length of eye lens can increase or the focal length of eye lens can decrease, and that is again done by ciliary muscles, right? That is done by ciliary muscles. When ciliary muscles contract, the focal length of eye lens decreases. When ciliary muscles relax, this focal length increases. So this eye lens can be like this or it can be like this. Focal length is less, focal length is more. Depending upon that, the image will be formed near the retina. It will perfectly focus the image over here. It will done the fine tuning of image. Right, that function is performed by eye lens. Then the image will be formed on retina. Retina is nothing but a light sensitive screen. It will detect the light signals and it will convert the light signals into electric signals. Those electric signals will then go to the optic nerve, and optic nerves will carry these electric signals to the brain, and the specific receptive centers of the brain will then process the image and tell you that what you are actually seeing, what is its color, what is its shape, what is its size. And believe me friends, this all happens in microseconds. Microseconds. Just the moment you open the eyes and you start seeing everything around you. Right. This entire process happens in microseconds. That much fast process this is. Right. I hope this is clear to you. See, frankly speaking, I am not satisfied. When you are in front of me, I would have explained this topic in much better manner to you. But we have to accept this situation of COVID-19, and this is the backlog. If there was a physical class, we would have seen many practical examples for this. We would have closed our eyes, we would have opened our eyes, we would have reduced the light, increased the light, we would have seen the objects near to us and far away from us also, right? But that is somehow not possible in this online classes, right? So please accept this difference, try to understand in the best possible manner. I am trying my best, you try your best, and start learning. Try to imagine the things around you. Fine, try to decrease the light around you and try to see the objects. Try to hold an object very much near to your nose and then take it far from your nose and just experience what you feel, and then you will understand what role each and every part over here plays. Right, let us move ahead and see the first question. Right, draw a well labeled diagram of human eye and explain the functioning of human eye. This is a very much important question from examination point of view for 4 marks. This is the image that is given in textbook. You can see these are ciliary muscles. They will control the focal length. This is pupil, the opening over here. This is iris. Right. Please draw this diagram neatly, and this is the answer that you have to write in CW. Now, my dear friends, a few of you are not maintaining the CW properly. You are enjoying today, but you will pay for it, right, in the later stage, in the upcoming months. Once exams will be near, you will definitely need something for writing. At that time, you will rely on different notes, different digest. You will pay for it, right? Better is please maintain the CW, right, in the utmost best manner, right, and read from it. Fine, I have prepared these answers directly from the textbook. I have used no other source. I have used the pure textbook language according to the board paper pattern. Right, so this is the first part of the answer. You have to write the question and answer both, and there are 5 to 6 points. The first point is visible to us on the screen. Right, once you finish writing this much, pause the video, write this much. Once you finish writing this much, after that you have to write this. Right, the other parts, each and every detail is mentioned over here that we have discussed in the today's video lecture. Fine, so homework for you is, in CW you have to write this answer one time, and in homework book you have to write this answer again 2 times. So total 3 times. Don't just copy, learn, imagine. Once you understand, then write this by heart. Don't just copy from here to there. Write in CW one time and in homework book 2 times, because this is very much important answer for 4 marks. Thank you very much for listening. Take very good care of yourselves, and we will now meet in the next video lecture. Till then, goodbye.